Assalamu alaikum, Pakistan, Islamabad. We're reading Joseph's story, which is also mentioned in the Quran, but it's originally in Tawrat, Genesis. Joseph's plan works perfect. In fact, there is too much grain to measure. And Joseph is a slave in Egypt, came out of prison because he could interpret dreams of Pharaoh. And he was put in charge over the whole nation to save them from 7 years of famine. And I'm Stefan Hegger, your friend, reading with you Bible on Facebook and YouTube. The storehouses are filled with grain. Look at this. Joseph was 30 years old when he began serving Pharaoh. Very young at that time. Look, 30 years old. Verse 46. The king of Egypt, he left Pharaoh's palace and traveled all over Egypt. During the 7 years when there was plenty of food, the land produced more than the people needed. Joseph collected all of the extra food produced in those 7 years in Egypt. He stored it in the cities. In each city, he stored up the food that was grown in the fields around it. Joseph stored up huge amount of grain. It was like the sand of the sea. There was so much grain, it couldn't be measured. So Joseph stopped keeping record of it. Before the years when there wasn't enough food, 2 sons were born to Joseph. He had them by Asenath, the daughter of Potiphera. Potiphera was the priest of On. We already read this yesterday. Joseph named his first son Manasseh, which became then one of the tribe of Israel. Look, that's because he said, God has made me forget all of my trouble and my father's whole family. He named the second Ephraim. That's because he said, God has given me children in the land where I've suffered so much. The 7 years when there was plenty of food in Egypt came to an end. Then the 7 years when there wasn't food enough, it began. It happened exactly as Joseph had said it would. There wasn't enough food in any of the other lands, but in the whole land of Egypt there was food, but not around Egypt. Look, God's plan. Look at this. When all of the people of Egypt began to get hungry, they cried out to Pharaoh for food. He told all of the Egyptians, go to Joseph, do what he tells you. Look, Hazrat Yusuf, follow him. He's a Hebrew, he's a foreigner, but he's the wisest man of the nation. But God exalted him from a prisoner, slavery, in charge of a nation. There wasn't enough food anywhere in the country, so Joseph opened the storerooms. He sold grain to the Egyptians because people were very hungry all over Egypt. And now we are closing this chapter with people from all over the other countries. They came to Egypt. They came to buy grain from Joseph. That's because people were hungry all over the world.